Hello everyone, and welcome back to GarageHammerTactics. It's Tom here again today, and I'm going to be taking you through my thoughts and opinions of the one, the only Sons of Horus Legion for Horus Heresy. What does being a Sons of Horus of the Emperor's Legions Astartes give you? It gives you the standard Legions Astartes, allowing you to attempt to regroup regardless of casualties. It gives you the Edge of the Spear, units with this rule who are held in reserve, and any transport vehicles they are embarked upon may, if their controlling player wishes, reroll results of a 1 when making reserve rolls. Really quite good if you're using reserves, especially for myself. I inevitably roll a 1 from turn 2 onwards, so being able to reroll that and hopefully get a fish for a 3 gets a positive in my book. We also get Bitter Pride. Units with this special rule cannot benefit from the wall or trait of an allied character or an allied independent character's leadership score. Not really much of a downside. Merciless Fighters is next. If the number of Sons of Horus infantry models, with an asterisk against, I will get to that in a sec, in a particular close combat is greater than that of the enemy during initiative step 1 of the fight subphase, then each model with this rule that has already fought may make a single additional attack. Now, the asterisk goes on to say count bulky models on both sides as 2 models each, very bulky models as 3 each for the purposes of working this out. Now, it does say that who has already fought, so you're not going to get an extra attack with anyone that's at initiative step 1 due to the unwieldy special rule or anything else therefore. All in, a fairly nice way of getting a few more attacks through with, say, lightning claws, maybe chainsaws if you've got enough of a big enough squad there and you're outnumbering them. Pretty good rule. And my favourite part of being a Sons of Horus is, well, the most recent edition when they reworked the red books, is Death Dealer. It gives you an extra ballistic skill, +1 ballistic skill when shooting with pistol type, assault type or rapid fire weapons at targets 12 inches or less away. This as a rule does not apply when making snapshots, chain fire or Fury of the Legion attacks. But either way, that +1 ballistic skill, so hitting on 2s with a plasma support squad, which is generally how it's used, or with combi weapons on Terminators you've deep struck in through. I used to run with combi melters. Hitting on 2s, you're getting more shots through, doing more damage. Happy days. So as being part of the Sons of Horus, the Legion specific units and war gear gains you Juster and Terminator squads, Reaver attack squads and Amulet's Pattern Dreadclaw drop pods. All very good. Juster and Terminators may be taken as elite's choice or replace a command squad for the army, and the Reaver attack squads may be taken as fast attack choices. You also have access to Bane Strike bolter rounds, and essentially boils down to, at a cost, slightly worse rending. It's, instead of the normal rule for rendings is 6s to wound or AP2, the Bane Strike ammunition is 6s to wound is AP3, and you're firing at less range. So at a normal cost of 5 points for those that can take it, it's not really that great in my opinion. You're better off if you're putting the effort in to take a combi weapon, you just take a combi plasma and it's 7 points and you're AP2. Okay, it's 1 use, but it's AP2. Use it when you need it. I should add that those units that are eligible to take Bane Strike ammunition are Legion and Seeker squads may take it instead of their Scorpio special issue ammunition at no additional cost, and independent characters with the Sons of Horus special rule may upgrade either a bolt gun or combi bolter they are carrying to use exclusively Bane Strike ammunition for +5 points. What Rite of Wars the Sons of Horus have available? First up is the Black Reaving. The benefits and effects of this are as follows. Gives you encirclement. Any non-vehicle unit which is part of a detachment using this Rite of War that enters play from reserve other than by deep strike has the fleet special rule on the turn it arrives. Fleet is always a good one, rerolling the runs. Bearing in mind you can't charge, so you will only be re-rolling runs on the turn you arrive from reserve, that is. So it's okay. You gain Cut Them Down. Units with the Legions of Astartes, Sons of Horus special rule, taken as part of a detachment using this Rite of War, gain the Rage special rule when they successfully charge an enemy unit which is already engaged in an ongoing assault. Very situational. You'd have to be a better player than myself to be able to get that to come off, because assaults, especially in Horus Heresy, don't last too long unless there's Primarchs involved. So units without special characters or Primarchs, they can go one way, someone fails the leadership and you get sweeping advanced. So maintaining an engaged unit to gain the Rage, although useful when you do pull it off, because you're then going to more than likely win the combat, is rare, but can happen. You also get Reaver Onslaught. Sons of Horus Legion Reaver squads may be taken as troops choices for detachment using this Rite of War. That's okay, we'll cover the Reavers soon. And the last effect is the Eye of the War Master. Justering Terminators, chosen as part of a detachment using this Rite of War, gain the Deep Strike special rule. Very useful, as the Sons of Horus like to fight, it's the tip of the spear and all that. Given their favoured Terminators, Deep Striking, put them where you want them, pretty good. Now the drawbacks of this Rite of War are detachments must take a Master of Signal as a compulsory HQ choice, in addition to the Praetor or other characters whose presence allows for the use of the Rite of War. That's not too bad, but it is a tax, so bear that in mind when you're list writing. Master of Signal is a very useful HQ, and the benefits he can give to shooting squads with his Cognitive Signum. It's nothing to be sniffed at, but it does come at a price. Detachments must take more fast attack choices than heavy support choices from the Force Org chart for a mission they are playing, and that's one more of fast attack than heavy support. So if you have 2 heavy support choices, you must take 3 fast attack choices. So another form of tax. It's just something to bear in mind. It's sort of starting to weigh against the Rite of War, really, manipulating what you must take as a tax to give you. They're starting to outweigh the benefits. Detachments must take an additional compulsory troops choice as part of the Force Org. So you're already, what's that, three compulsory additions on top of what you already want to take, which is fine to an extent, but it's a compulsory troops choice, so that's either breachers, assault squads, or tactical squads. Or, should we say, go back to the effects, the Reaver Onslaught, where the Reavers can be taken as troops choices. And a primary detachment using this Rite of War may not take fortifications. Out of the 2 Rite of Wars available to Sons of Horus, this is the one that's on the back foot. It's not as good as the following. And my favourite of the 2 Rite of Wars is the Long March, and that gives you Relentless March, infantry units with the Legions of Astartes special rule, bracketed Sons of Horus of course, gain one of the following special rules from the beginning of its own player turn until the end of its opponent's next player turn, when the majority of its models begin that player turn in the area indicated. You get Relentless in the friendly deployment zone, Fleet in no man's land, i.e. neither your own deployment zone or your opponent's deployment zone for the mission being played, and finally you get Crusader when you have infantry units in the enemy's deployment zone. And those 3 special rules are, in my opinion, widely sought after. So, first turn, giving your heavy support units or heavy support squads with missile launchers, las cannons, autocannons, whatever, Relentless in your deployment zone, and they will always have that for being in your deployment zone. It's really good. You can, if you're deploying second, you can hide your heavy support squads out of the way. It comes to your turn, move them out with a Relentless and shoot at normal ballistic skill. Fantastic. Fleet in no man's land, great if you're playing a mission you need to get to the other side of the board. Rerolling runs, rerolling charges. Most of the combat and attrition is going to happen in the middle, fantastic. And Crusader has extra D3 for swooping advances. It can't be sniffed at. Sniffed at. Get your words right, Tom. Albeit in the enemy's deployment zone, but you're there anyway. You can, if you're sweeping up in the backfield, that extra D3, fantastic. Then War Master portion is the last effect. As Horus' own, the Legion benefit from the finest equipment and the greatest surplus of arms and munitions of any Legion. On the first turn of a game, a detachment using this rite of war may re-roll all to hit rolls of 1. In addition, Legion Terminators may be chosen as non-compulsory troops choices in this detachment. So that, again, plays back into your heavy support squads, having Relentless in your deployment zone, and also now giving reroll hit rolls of 1. If you are deep striking an Anvilus Dreadclaw of Terminators, which are then maybe taken as non-compulsory troops choices, who have combi weapons, so using your Death Dealer from your Sons of Horus specific rules, you can be hitting on 2s if you get them out and you can see, and you're shooting within 12 inches, and you're rerolling 1s to hit. Why not? All good in my opinion. Limitations are as follows. It may only be used by Sons of Horus belonging to the traitor faction and may not be used in conjunction with the Shattered Legion special rules. The detachment may not include any models with the slow and purposeful special rule unless they deploy via deep strike or begin the game carried in a transport. These aren't very restrictive drawbacks. And as usual, detachments using this rite of war may not take a fortification detachment or an allied detachment. All in the resounding winner of the 2 rite of wars for Sons of Horus. Don't know if you can tell. Now onto specific units available to the Sons of Horus. First up we have the Anvilus Pattern Dreadclaw Drop Pod. A great transport all round. It comes in at 100 points for Sons of Horus. Standard drop pod armor values of 12 all round with 3 hull points. It's a unit type of vehicle, hover and flyer. War gear of frag assault launchers, great. So Terminators disembarking can, as long as you haven't just arrived from reserve or deep strike, have the benefit of frag grenades on the turn they assault from it. Other special rules are assault vehicle, awesome, so you can assault from it, which plays into my previous comment. Deep strike, drop pod assault, and heat blast. I'll get the special rules overview in a second. Transport capacity has a capacity of 10 models or a single dreadnought. Access point is access hatched beneath the hull, and in practice passengers can disembark at ground level within 12 inches of the hull. So who's this dedicated transport available to? In the Sons of Horus army, a Dreadclaw may be taken as a dedicated transport for the following units: Just and Terminator Squad, Legion Terminator Squad, a Legion Dreadnought, Talon of 1 only, a Legion Seeker Squad, a Reaver Attack Squad, or a Legion Command Squad. And it also says any unit purchase a Dreadclaw drop pod as a dedicated transport must begin the game deployed within it. And I say how I used to play it was a Legion Terminator Squad, all with combi melters, getting out on the turn they arrived through the drop pod assault special rule, where they always arrive on turn 1, half of rounding up. They get out, find a bit of armour they I didn't like the look of, hit on 2s and reroll 1s using a long march rite of war. On the first turn, that is. So, special rules. We all know what drop pod assault does. The other one primarily is the heat blast. Essentially it gives you 2 options to deal damage with. It says, when a model with a special rules via deep strike or later when operating as a skimmer in a hover mode, it may, if its controlling player wishes, inflict a heat blast attack. If it does so, the models it is transporting may not disembark or embark on a turn this attack is used. First option is heat blast deep strike. Immediately after the model deploys using the deep strike rule, measure a radius of 3 plus d3 inches horizontally outwards. Do not count any landing struts. If you've seen the Dreadclaw model, it's quite spiky, so it's directly from the drop pod hull. All models caught in the blast of this radius suffer a strength 6 AP5 hit with no cover saves. Vehicles are struck on their weakest armor value, which can be useful. At strength 6, you are glancing rhinos on a 4. And it's counted as a flamer-based attack. The other option is Fire Sweep, Heat Blast. If you wish, any unit the model passes directly over, and it specifies, falls directly under its hull during its movement phase, also suffers D6 strength 5 AP5 hits with no cover save, so one strength's lower. Vehicles are struck on the weakest armor value again, so can be useful against rhinos. It's counted as a flamer based attack, but the drawback to this is you have to roll a D6 each time an attack is inflicted, and on the result of a 1, the drop pod itself suffers a penetrating hit. No AP, but you can still immobilize yourself. Hits from this attack are distributed across a unit as a player suffering the attack wishes, so you don't have to take it from the direction it comes from, which is useful for the opponent, I suppose, but all in, it's still an option to deal some damage. So there's an option available as a dedicated transport for the Sons of Horus Legion. Okay, it's 100 points, but you are given an added protection for certain units and getting them where you want. If you're not taking the long march, if you're taking a long march, certain Terminator squads are getting deep strike, but other than that, a really good option. An elite option available for Sons of Horus Legion is the Justerin Terminator squad. Justerin, I just call them Justerin, but I could be wrong. Let me know if I am. What does being a Justerin give you? Weapon skill 5, standard Space Marine stats of ballistic skill, strength and toughness of 4. You get 2 wounds, great. 2 wound Terminators are a must and really sought after in Horus Heresy. Initiative 4, 2 attacks, leadership 9 and a 2-up save. Nice and rounded. Weapon skill 5 is cheeky and the 2 wounds is nice. Unit composition is 5 Justerin Terminators. Unit type is infantry. War gear is Cataphracti Terminator armor, Combi Bolter and a power weapon. They have a dedicated transport option of a Land Raider Phobos if it's 5 models or less, or a Dreadclaw Drop Plot as a dedicated transport. Special rules, Legion Tactics Sons of Horus, good times. They have Implacable Advance, great for Terminators. They have Stubborn, so no modifiers, negative modifiers to leadership if they lose combat. They have Furious Charge, pretty good. They are favoured of Horus and Chosen Warriors. All in, favoured of Horus is that they say may be chosen instead of a command squad as a bodyguard for any Terminator armor equipped Praetor of the Sons of Horus. And it does say, like good old Forge World used to do, that Justerin Terminators must always be modelled, painted to be visually distinct from standard Legion Terminator squads to avoid confusion. And of course, the Justerin are in their ebon black armour with gold trim, much like Abedin. Having Implacable Advance, we all know what that does. They gain scoring just as if they were troops in a mission where troops would be counted as scoring. Furious Charge is a nice bonus for that +1 strength on the charge. What weapon options do they have? They may include up to 7 additional Justerin Terminators at 40 points each. Slightly pricey, but especially considering the base cost of the squad is 255 points. But for 2 wounds each, I suppose this is acceptable. For every 5 models in the squad, a Terminator may exchange their Combi Bolter for one of the following special weapons. You have a Heavy Flamer at 10 points, Reaper of the Cannon at 15 points, or a Multi-Melter at 25 points. While it can be useful, I'm not sure with, especially pointing at weapon skill 5, whether investing those extra points, especially on the Multi-Melter at 25 points, in my opinion, is overall worth it, because they're much more of a combat unit with their other special rules as Stubborn and Furious Charge. obviously in my opinion. Any Terminator may be equipped with a combi weapon for 7 points each. They're great, like I used to do. Combi, albeit not on Gesturing, but combi melters. Just play into that death dealer, getting +1 to hit with rapid fire weapons, assault weapons, or pistol weapons. Any Gesturing Terminator may exchange their power weapon for a power fist at 5 points, a lightning claw at 5 points, or a chain fist at 10 points. Fair price points, generally standard across most Terminator units. And then the final entry is any Gesturing Terminator may exchange both their power weapon and combi weapon for a pair of lightning claws at 15 points. Yeah, if that tickles your biscuit, go for it. But all in, a great Terminator squad available to the Sons of Horus. The last special unit available to the Sons of Horus is a fast attack option in the form of a Reaver attack squad. They come in at 135 points for 4 Reavers and 1 Reaver Chieftain, so 4 normal dudes and 1 Sergeant. They have the standard Space Marine weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength and toughness of 4, 1 wound, initiative 4. A Reaver is 2 attacks base, the Chieftain is 3 attacks base. The Reaver is leadership 8 and the Chieftain is leadership 9, so standard, like I say, 1 Sergeant is slightly better. And a 3 up armor save and power armor. Unit type of Reaver infantry, and the Reaver Chieftain is infantry character subtype. War gear standard is power armor, bolt pistol, chainsword or combat blade, frag and crack grenades. So bolt pistol and chainsword combat blade are standard. These guys are getting +1 attack base. The Legion special rules apply to them as Sons of Horus. They have the Assassin's Eye and Outflank. Outflank is a great rule. 1 to 2, they're coming on your left, 3 to 4 on your right, 5 to 6 where you choose. It's not too bad. The Assassin's Eye goes on to say you get precision shots and precision strikes. So it's okay. More often than not. Again, I'm not. When I used to play Sons of Horus, I didn't take them myself. I just felt that veterans were a better option. Base cost 35 points cheaper. A dedicated transport for the Reaver squad, as long as it is not equipped with jump packs. You may take a Legion Rhino or an Anviler's Pattern Dreadclaw drop pod if it numbers 10 models or less. So what weapon options are available to the Reavers? So you can take up to 10 additional Reavers at 15 points each. Yeah, that does seem slightly steep considering the base cost of the unit is already at 135 points. And like I said before, standard stats of a veteran that has the same sort of options available, as you'll find out shortly. Do they really have a place? I'll let you answer that. Okay, you can take, that would be a squad of 15. That's okay, but once you're up to beyond squads of 10, there's not many transports that can take them, apart from Spartan, but that's a big boy. Each model in the squad may take one of the following weapon options. Bolt gun with Bane Strike shells, you know my opinion on those. Volkite Charger. Sorry, the bolt gun with Bane Strike shells is 5 points each. The Volkite Charger is 7 points each. They're a great gun. Again, don't forget, you get +1 ballistic skill if you shoot with them with the Volkite Charger. So it's a Volkite Charger hitting on 2s with Deflagrate. Next option is a Combi Weapon with Bane Strike shells for its bolt gun component at 10 points. So, whereas a standard Combi Weapon is generally 7 points on Terminators and 10 points on most other power armor, the Bane Strike shells, are they really worth it for your bolt gun component? Not in my opinion. The next options are, rather than taking an option from the previous list, 1 in every 5 may take one of the following instead: a flamer for 10 points, a melt gun for 15 points, a plasma gun for 15 points, or a plasma pistol for 15 points. These are all standard prices, to be honest. Use it as you would prefer. I personally keep it as salty as salty as possible. So either the flamer, melter gun, or plasma pistol. Any model in the squad may exchange their chain sword or combat blade with one of the following weapons. Chain axe at 1 point each. Not too shabby. A power weapon at 10 points each, or a power fist at 15 points each. Again, do you really want to be investing in that points level for something that's in power armor? The Reaver Chieftain may also take any of the following options. Metal Bombs for 5, Artificer Armor for 10 points, or a Hand Flamer for 5 points. All standard availability for a sergeant. But the entire squad may also take jump packs for 15 points for the whole squad. So ideally, if you are taking as many as 15 Reavers, just pay the 50 points. If you're that invested in it, may as well fully invest in them. And then when you outflank them, they can move 12 inches. So you get them to where you want to a lot easier. As I say, not really a unit I ever used. I found vets more useful. The first of 3 HQ options available to Sons of Horus is Malagust Twisted. He comes in at 140 points. Base stats of a standard Centurion: weapon skill, ballistic skill 5, strength, toughness 4, wounds of 3, initiative 4, 2 attacks, leadership 10, and a 3-up save. He's unique. He's an infantry character. His war gear is standard. His power armor, power sword, bolter with bane strike shells, bolt pistol, frag and crack grenades, refractor field, and a Legion standard. His special rules: Sons of Horus, independent character, master of the Legion, bearer of the eye, broken in body, and adamantium will. What does bearer of the eye give you? Malagust himself serves both the War Master's equerry and enforcer within their own ranks, and where he goes, the will and power of Horus goes with him. If Malagust is present in a detachment, the Sons of Horus veteran tactical squads and Sons of Horus Reaver squads may be taken as troops choices in that detachment. So if you're wanting to twist certain rights of war to take what you want, i.e. veterans or Reavers, you could pay the 140 points of this character's tax and have them as free will. Broken in body, special rule: once one of the finest warriors in his legion, his body was shattered by terrible injuries which have left him a shadow of his former glory. Malagust and any unit he joins may not make run moves or sweeping advances. A little bit disappointing considering he has the Legion Standard, and the Legion Standard gives Fearless. Okay, yes, it's a bubble, but you could generally put him with a combat squad, and not being able to run or sweep in advance primarily is a bit of a drawback for that, having a Legion Standard. As a warlord trait available to him is the battle standard of rebellion. If Malagust is the army's warlord, then he counts as a scoring unit in any mission where troops are classed as scoring units. Yeah, not that great a warlord trait. Of 140 points, are you really benefiting from a lot of those special rules, especially considering what output he hasn't got? A power sword, he's only got power armor. Okay, you got a bolt with bane strike shells, but that's just a poor form of rending, as we are well aware. And the Legion Standard, okay, it's Fearless, but as we'll see in a minute with Abedin, he gives Fearless anyway. Anyway, that is Malagust Twisted for Sons of Horus. The next HQ character is probably one of my favourite traitor characters, and that is Ezekiel Abedin. First captain of the Sons of Horus, favoured of the War Master, and he'll cost you a pricey 215 points. Now, what does that 215 points buy you? A weapon skill of 7, yeah, it's not bad, not too shabby. A ballistic skill of 5, strength and toughness of 4, boo, considering how bulky he was written to be, or told to be in the story, in the Black Library books. And it's a little bit disappointing with a toughness of 4, but anyway, he has 3 wounds, initiative 5, 4 attacks, not too bad, leadership 10, and a 2-up save. His war gear is Juster and Warplate, and that gives him a 2-up armor save, a 4-up invuln save, as well as a relentless special rule. Yeah, okay. He has a mastercrafted power fist, useful. Strength 8 and 1 reroll for his 5 attacks on the charge. He has either a combi bolter or a power sword. Okay. I'd just go combi bolter, personally. And a grenade harness. So been frag and crack grenades if he shoots with it. His special rules. Sons of Horus, great. Master of the Legion, fearless, brilliant. Teleporter assault. Marked by Dark Fates, which is, it plays into, if you're playing a campaign, using him as a special character. Bulky, independent character, and precision strike. His warlord trait is intimidating presence from the Warhammer 40k rulebook. This is the red book before they did the 4-year-old rulebook. A teleport assault, special rule. A bit of spiel of operating most commonly off the Sons of Horus flagship, the Vengeful Spirit. Abedin is Juster and commonly took advantage of the vessel's substantial teleporter engines to attack into the heart of an enemy force. You know, Sons of Horus pointing a spear, decapitate the head, and the body will fall. Abedin and any Terminator armor equipped unit with which he is joined before deployment may deep strike. Additionally, they may re-roll results on the deep strike mishap they would have decided. Very useful. It mitigates slight risk. And the mark by Dark Fates, just to confirm, the Fates hold an eternity of war, as we well know if you follow the 40k universe. He's the big bad, or goes on to become the big bad. In campaign games where character casualties and injury between battles is a factor, any such chart results for Abedin may be re-rolled. But 215 points for a not so... Okay, he's a bit of a buff unit with Fearless, and I think that's probably why they price him so high, in my opinion, is that they are very stingy with things that easily... Well, it would seem they were stingy. Things that easily pass morale checks, albeit you can buy a chaplain for, well, they plus 35 points on top of a Centurion. Correct me if I'm wrong. Again, an auto take in most lists if you're playing combat lists. In Horus Heresy as a chaplain, and 215 points for Abedin just seems a bit steep, considering what newer special characters gain, like Raldoran for the Blood Angels. But anyway, enough about that. We're not doing Blood Angels. That was Sean's, and that is Abedin for the Sons of Horus. And my favourite loyalist character now available for the Sons of Horus is Garviel Loken. Say it how you want. He comes in at 175 points. And harking back to Abedin, you'll now see why Abedin's so overpriced. Loken has a weapon skill of 6. Okay, it's 1 less. He has ballistic skill of 5. His strength and toughness 4, 3 wounds, initiative 6, 4 attacks, leadership 10, and a 3-up save. Okay, so he doesn't have a 2-up save, but in combat, most armies and characters and Death Stars are all dishing out AP2 anyway, so no, what's the point in having a 2-up save? Anyway, that's my gripe. I do apologise. His war gear is power armour, Paragon Blade. Again, this is why he's better than Abedin, but we know he is anyway. A bolt pistol, frag and crack grenades, and an iron halo. So he's getting 5 attacks on the charge with an initiative 6 Paragon Blade. If you put him in a challenge against Abedin, I think Loken will probably take him out more often than not. His special rules are he's a Sons of Horus, great. Rights of War, Master of the Legion, so he can take Rights of War. He's a born survivor, we'll get to that in a sec, and he's an independent character. It does say that this unit may only be taken in a Loyalist faction. His warlord trait is Inspiring Presence. Friendly units within 12 can use Loken's leadership value rather than their own. He's a born survivor. The first time that Loken should be removed as a casualty during a game, roll a d6. On the result of a 2-up, he lives on with a single wound remaining. Once the rule has been used, it cannot be used again in the battle. I think this rule is great. It just plays into the fluff of him spoiler alert, surviving Istvan 3 atrocities, where the War Master declared traitor and purged his legions, as well as the World Eaters, the Emperor's Children, and the Death Guard. And it represents him trying to cleanse Istvan 3 post the atrocities, and then Garrow comes back to save him at the behest of Malcador the Sigillite and becomes a knight errant. A great character, 175 points. He will pretty much predominantly beat Initiative 6 this is against Abedin with his unwieldy Mastercrafted Power Fist. Chances are, you roll well, you're going to roll an instant death with your Paragon Blade, and Abedin hasn't got Eternal Warrior, which is odd considering he is still alive in the 41st millennium. But, get that forge-rolled. Now we're on to the main man himself. We have Horus the War Master. He's the Primarch of the Sons of Horus. Horus Lupercal, the Breaker of Tyrants, the Favoured Son, the Eye of Terror. He comes in at a staggering 500 points, albeit not the most expensive Primarch, but as you'll find out shortly, I think he's fairly costed. He's a bit of a beast. He's Weapon Skill 8, Ballistic Skill 5, Strength 7, Toughness 6, 6 wounds, Initiative 6, 5 attacks, Leadership 10, and a 2-up save. Special war gear is the Serpent Scale, the War Master's Talon, World Breaker, a Cognis Signum, frag grenades, and a Teleportation Matrix. We'll get to his specific war gear shortly. The special rules, Primarch and all that gives you Adamantium Wheel, Fleet, Fearless, it will not die, Master of Legion, Precision Strikes, Precision Shots, causes fear, and Eternal Warrior, and all that fun stuff. Weapon Mastery, Sire of the Sons of Horus, the Point of the Spear, God of Battle, and very bulky. So we'll cover his special rules first. His Weapon Mastery. The War Master has 2 close combat weapons and may wield them simultaneously, splitting his attacks between them in combat as desired. Pretty good, as we'll cover soon. The Sire of the Sons of Horus. When Horus fights a unit or character with weapon skill 4 or less, he gains plus D3 attacks, roll at the start of each fight subphase. If he and any terminate unit he has joined are placed in reserve, then his player may elect which turn he arrives on. Any turn from the second onward may be selected rather than rolling randomly as would normally be the case. 2 very useful bonuses to a Primarch there. The God of Battle special rule. Any unit part of a force containing Horus placed in reserve gains the Outflank special rule. All models with the Allegiance Astartes Sons of Horus gain +1 leadership to a maximum leadership of 10 when he's present in the same force. And a force containing Horus may seize the initiative on a 4-up where this is allowed in a mission. 3 very useful, very useful additions there. Seizing the initiative on a 4-up, great. The outflank for units placed in reserves, great. And don't forget, being in reserve and being a Sons of Horus, you can re-roll rolls of 1, so you can mitigate your poor rolls, or Tom's poor rolls. The last special rule is the Point of the Spear. Veteran tactical squads and Juster and Terminate squads may be taken as troops choices in an army where Horus is its warlord, and unless engaged in close combat or held in reserve, Horus may call down a single precision orbital bombardment attack in the shooting phase once per game. This attack has the following profile. It's range and limited, strength 10, AP 2, ordnance 1, large blast, lance, and twin linked. Lance and strength 10. So yeah, Spartans, look out. All very useful. The only drawback, in my opinion, is the ordnance. I read it as having ordnance that he would have to stand still, but to use it. But let me know what you think below. His war gear then. The Serpent Scales. It provides a 2-up armor save and a 3-up invuln save, which is very good for a Primarch. Not very many that have that good an invuln save. The armor also negates any psychic attack directed at the War Master or any effect that would adversely modify his characteristic profile on a d6 roll of a 3-up. Most psychic powers in Horus Heresy are used to buff your own unit. So having a 3-up to negate something adversely affecting him is useful, but I never saw it used. I hadn't personally seen it used. His first melee weapon is Worldbreaker. It's a power maul of prodigious size and might, which is well and being capable of shattering armoured ceramite. It is also as a signifier of Horus's rank of War Master, and is said to have been created by the hand of the Emperor himself as a gift to his favoured son. Much death and damage he did to the Loyalist legions with it himself. It's a melee weapon, strength 10, AP 2, mastercrafted, concussive and unwieldy. Mastercrafted, very useful. Being able to reroll one failed hit per turn. His other melee weapon is also called the Talon. A unique lightning claw which incorporates a Barockley style twin bolter. The Talon has long been Horus's favourite weapon. Some apocryphal sources claim it is an antediluvian relic that was found deep in the planet Chthon and was a product of mankind's dark age of technology. The Talon has two profiles listed. One represents the lightning claw and the second the inbuilt bolt weapon. So the melee side of it is strength user, AP 2, it's melee, shred and disabling strike. Its ranged attack profile is 24 inches, strength 5, AP 3, assault 3 and twin linked. Now stepping back slightly, going back to his special rule of weapon mastery, those two weapons he has available to him are not specialist weapon, so he's getting +1 attack. So he's base 5, +1 attack 6, charges he's 7, and if he's fighting against a unit that's a weapon skill 4 or lower, he gets +3. So you can get 10 attacks with Horus, and you can split them willy nilly. You could do, I don't know, if there's it's all AP 2 anyway. So and coming against most things that are weapon skill 4 are gonna be toughness 4. Coming in at strength 7, you'll be wounding on 2. So you just go 10 attacks with at initiative 6 with shred with the Talon. Your happy days. Against everything else, though, he would on the charge get 7 attacks. When I say everything else, I mean stuff with higher weapon skill. And so 7 attacks on the charge. That's pretty good. Splitting that between something that's at strength 10 and concussive, albeit unwieldy. All very useful. He's a great Primarch. Now the disabling strike special back on the Talon. He favoured a combat style that is part measured cruelty and part unbridled fury, and with it just describes that he was able to aim at special organs or tendons that are vital to maintaining strength and vitality for his opponent. So to play that out in the game, any model wounded but not slain by the War Master's Talon in a particular assault phase becomes -1 weapon skill and -1 strength for the rest of the game. It is cumulative across multiple assault phases, so you can bring Primarchs down to their knees. A great special rule for him. The final part of War Gear is a Teleportation Matrix. The War Master and any attached Terminator unit from his army may choose to deep strike and will not scatter while doing so. So don't forget that being the god of battle that he is, you can place him in deep strike. You won't scatter. He can take some Terminators with him, Justrons, and you are putting something where you need to put him. Okay, you have to stand there for a turn and weather some fire, but if you're paying 500 points for a Primarch, put a big enough squad around him and you'll be laughing, really. You should, unless you're having some really poor rolls and having a bad day. And it's not a battle the War Master, I do apologise, the War Master's not supposed to win. He's going to be wrecking face. The Worldbreaker and the Talon. The Talon's going to be slowly snipping away at Primarchs if they put a Primarch in your way. Worldbreaker is going to make them concussive if he gets a hit through. 500 points, you can't complain really. There's adversely costed Primarchs on both sides of the scale. The Lion, for example, is too cheap, and there's some that are too expensive for what they give you, in my opinion. But overall, that is the Sons of Horus. Now there we are. Thank you for listening and sitting through my thoughts and opinions of the Sons of Horus Legion. They are a personal favourite of mine, always hold a favoured space in my heart. They were the first Horus Heresy army I started. I sold the army on Heresy Trading because I developed better painting skills. One day I may myself go back on Sons of Horus, because I'm hoping one day maybe that Forge World reignite Horus Heresy with the Siege of Terror box set, let's hope. But we can dream, we can Heresy wishlist all we like. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. But by all means, give me some grief if I got stuff wrong, or you think there's other options and benefits of being a Sons of Horus. Thank you again for sticking with us, and I will see you hopefully soon. Lockdowns are easing gradually in the UK, so we might be able to get some back reps filmed, and Sean, myself and Sam are really looking forward to that opportunity. So I'll see you in the next one.